There's something oddly comforting about the sound of waves crashing on the shore, the warm sun, the soft sand, the cool breeze off the sea. But sometimes beneath that peace, there's something darker, something that waits, hidden in plain sight. Tonight, you'll hear 5 beach house horror stories submitted by viewers who thought their seaside getaway would be a dream, but instead became a nightmare. These stories are not dramatized. They are told as we receive them, raw, chilling, and true. Our first story comes from Helena, a freelance writer who took a solo retreat to a beachside cottage in Maine. The house was small, cozy, and overlooked a secluded stretch of shoreline. With no neighbors for at least half a mile, it was the perfect escape. On her first morning, Helena found a perfectly white shell sitting on her doorstep. It looked almost placed, symmetrical, clean. She assumed a neighbor, or maybe a beachgoer, had left it. On the second morning, there was another. Then another, identical. By the 4th day, she began to feel unnerved. Helena decided to stay up. At 2:47 a.m., she spotted a shape walking the shoreline. Tall, thin, slow. The figure moved toward her door. She crouched behind the curtain and watched it bend down and place the shell, then freeze. For nearly 3 minutes, it stood there, motionless. Then, it vanished. Not walked away, just gone. Terrified, she set up a security camera. The next morning, she reviewed the footage. There he was, the same figure, but when it turned to face the camera, its face was a blur of darkness, like the lens couldn't focus. That night, she packed her things. As she drove away at dawn, her rearview mirror caught one last glimpse of the cottage and someone standing on the porch. Next, we have Marco's story. He and 3 friends rented a modern house on the Northern California coast. A few hundred yards down the beach stood an abandoned lighthouse, its rusted frame still towering against the sky. Locals said it had been decommissioned in the early 1970s, after the last keeper vanished. On the second night, as they built a fire on the beach, one of them noticed something strange. The lighthouse lamp, long and active, was flickering on and off. They assumed it was an illusion, or maybe moonlight reflecting off glass. But the pattern was deliberate. It pulsed 3 times, paused, and repeated. The next night, curiosity got the better of them. They climbed the rocky path up to the lighthouse. Inside was decayed wood, rust, and silence. But as they ascended the spiral stairs, they heard soft, rhythmic footsteps above them. Reaching the top, they found no one, just a lantern sitting lit in the corner. Next to it lay a dusty logbook. Marco flipped through the brittle pages. The last entry was dated 1971. The name, W. Richards. That caught Marco's attention. Richards was his last name. He kept flipping. The ink changed. The last page, in fresh handwriting, read, "Why did you come back, Marco?" The lantern extinguished. The room went dark. They sprinted down, nearly tumbling down the stairs. Later that night, they returned to their beach house. The lamp in the lighthouse flickered again. 3 pulses. Pause. 3 more. Marco didn't sleep that night. Our next story is from Jess. Jess and her partner Nate had been saving for a beach getaway. They found the perfect Airbnb in South Carolina. Modern, stylish, with a wooden patio just steps from the sand. It had one unusual feature, a thick metal hatch on the patio floor. Their host told them it used to lead to an old storm shelter, but it had been sealed for years. On the 3rd morning, Jess woke early and stepped outside, only to find the hatch completely buried in sand. Not windblown, not drifted. It was like someone had deliberately covered it. A perfect mound. She called for Nate. Together they cleared it, revealing the rusted metal once again. But the next morning, it was back. And the next, the same shape, same density, like the sand had been sculpted. They installed a motion camera. That night, around 3:12 a.m., the alert triggered. They watched the footage and froze. A barefoot figure, wearing what looked like a sackcloth cloak, slowly circled the hatch, dragging a heavy burlap sack. It stopped, knelt, then used its fingers to smooth the sand over the door. When it turned toward the camera, the image distorted and the lens cracked internally. They left that morning. 2 weeks later, the property listing was gone. The host never replied again. Ravi's story is steeped in old history. He rented a grand Victorian-style home on the coast of Alabama. The house had charm, antique fixtures, high ceilings, and ocean views. But from the moment he arrived, he felt watched. On the second night, he heard humming, soft, feminine. It came from the hallway outside his room. He stepped out and saw her, a woman in 19th century maid attire standing by the staircase. Her back was to him. When she turned, her face was pale and expressionless, her eyes sunken, lifeless. She descended the stairs and disappeared into the basement. When Robbie followed, the room was empty, dust-covered and untouched. But near the back wall, behind some boxes, he found something. A small, bricked-over well. Moisture leaked from the stone. Local records revealed a maid had drowned in that well over 100 years ago. Her name was Margaret. She had vanished after her employer accused her of theft. A week later, her body was found in the well, weighed down by stones. Ravi left early, but before he did, he reviewed security cam footage one last time. In the reflection of the hallway mirror behind him, Margaret stood, watching. Our final story comes from Mia, an artist from Sydney, Australia. Her beachfront rental had a sleek modern interior and a small spiral staircase leading to a wine cellar below. On her third night, she went down to grab a bottle, but something felt off. The staircase was longer than before, much longer. Steps continued downward for far too long. The light from above began to fade. She called out, but the echo sounded wrong, delayed, warped. Still she kept going. Eventually the stairs opened into a stone hallway. No wine cellar, just a tunnel. The air was damp, heavy. She turned to go back, but the stairs were gone, replaced by a stone wall. Panic set in. She ran forward, deeper into the dark. Footsteps echoed behind her. She turned. Nothing. Then, a whisper. Keep going. Mia ran, and ran. Then, suddenly, light. She burst out of the hatch door, gasping. Back on the patio, the sun was rising. Nate, her boyfriend, stared at her in shock. She had been gone for over 7 hours, but to Mia, it had been minutes. When they tried to open the hatch again, it wouldn't budge. The wood beneath it had fused shut. Quote, 5 stories, 5 vacations that turned into something far more disturbing. The ocean gives, and sometimes it takes. Which story haunted you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you've ever had a terrifying beach experience, send it in. We might just share it in the next episode. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss another unsettling tale. Until next time, stay safe and stay far from the waves after midnight.